Watch. And then it goes to a C over G. That's the 4 chord, but there's your G.
Something a bit different I'm going to do today, and this is, I've been doing this with my students and I've implemented it as a practice tool for spread triads. And the video, it's Rick Beato, and he's talking about Cello Suite No. 1 by Bach and the use of spread triads within this song. So let's play it and then we'll break it down and we'll have a little, I'll talk to you a little bit about spread triads.
One of the things about this, it starts with a G major spread triad there. So it's root, 5, 3rd. And then it goes to the 9th, watch. And then it goes to a C over G. That's the 4 chord, but there's your G. But in each case, it's using a neighbor tone there to bounce off of. Then we go D7 over G.
So it's a beautiful piece of music and it's a really satisfying riff to play. So a spread triad, first of all, the first lick, and the tabs are here so you can follow them. We're going to look at a G major chord, E form bar chord off the 3rd fret. Now if I was to play a triad off this root 3rd fret of the low E, you've got root, 3rd, 2nd fret A string, and the 5th on the A string on the 5th fret. That's root 3, 5. Now with the spread triad, what you do, you take the 2nd note, so it's this 3rd, and you bump it up an octave. So now you would play that 3rd at its octave, which is the 4th fret of the G. And what that does, it rearranges the order of the triad. So now instead of going root 3, 5, you're going to go root 5, 3. So it changes the sound, it makes it really interesting. So now you've got root 3rd fret low E, you've got the 5th on the 5th fret of the A, and then you've got the major 3rd on the 4th fret of the G. So let's watch the first lick that Rick does and then we'll break that down.
It starts with a G major spread triad there. So it's root, 5, 3rd. And then it goes to the 9th, watch. And then it goes to a...
So it goes to the 9th, so you've got the spread triad, so you've got the root, and then I would play the 5th with your pinky, and then ring finger with the major 3rd. So this is a bit of a finger twister and it's going to be a really good exercise for dexterity. Plus it sounds great. When you've played that major 3rd there, we're going to pull off, same string, 1st finger on the 2nd fret. That's the 9. It's also the 2. So if you think of your major scale, it's that 9. So you need to know your major scale really for this to make sense. So we've got root, 5th, 3rd, and then we pull off to the 9. Then we go back to the 3rd, and then we bounce back twice to this, to the 5 on the A string of the 5th fret. And then we play that again, 3rd, 5th. And we do each of these licks twice. Then he goes to the 4 chord, so now we're going to do C.
C over G. That's the 4 chord, but there's your G. But But in each case, it's using a neighbor tone there to bounce off of. Then we go.
So what he means by neighbor tone is, like, we use this 9, it's just it's the next available tone in the scale. So there's the major third, that's the next note in the scale. It's called a neighbor tone. Still start on this G note. Now we're going to do a lick off the C. So it starts off with the 3rd fret. All these licks, these 3 licks, all start off with this G note on this 3rd fret low E. Then we've got a bit of a stretch, so pinky over to the 7th fret of the A. Now that's the major third of your C chord. So you could think of, there's your C major, A form, there's your inversion, which is what we're going to be thinking of. So you've got G, then you've got the 7th fret of the A, which is our major third of C. Then middle finger, we're going to grab, that's the C note, so it's 5th fret of the G string. And then straight away we're going to pull off to 1st finger to the 4th fret of the G. That's our neighbor tone. That's the major 7 of the C major scale. And it's the major third of your tonic, your 1 chord. Then we go back to that C note and we come back up to the major third. So it's the same kind of principle as what we did for the first chord. It's just going to be different notes of the chord. So we do that pull off to the 4th fret of the G, back to the 5th fret of the G, and then back over to the major third, 7th fret of the A, and then we do that twice, and then we do the whole riff twice. That covers the 4 chords, so all together really slow. Now we're going to go to D7.
D7 over G. Then.
So then he does D7, then he goes back to G, where we're going to finish it. It does go on and there's a lot more melody, but I've just been doing it with these 3 chords as a practice tool for my students. So the D, again, we're going to start on this G note, 3rd fret, low E. Then middle finger, we're going to go to the 4th fret of the D string, and then straight away we're going to grab this 5th fret of the G. So now you've got the G, and then your middle finger is on the major third of D7. Your ring finger is going to grab the 5th fret of the G, that's the flat 7. And then when we've grabbed that flat 7, we're going to pull off to the 4th fret, and that's our neighbor tone for this chord. And then back to the flat 7, and then we're going to go back up to the 4th fret of the D string, and that's the lick we're going to repeat twice. And then back to the G. So it's a bit of a, it's a bit of a mission for your fingers, but you do this stuff really slowly, and it's a really good dexterity exercise, and it sounds great, and it's teaching you a lot about music. Oh, sorry. satisfying to play. Practice it really slowly, just do one chord at a time. You've got the tabs. Have some fun with it, and I'll get back to some licks and chords in the blues tomorrow. Cheers.